Welcome to the Marketing Mastermind, a podcast designed to elevate your entrepreneurial mindset and help you take your business to the next level through digital marketing. Join your host, agency owner Hillary Russell, as she interviews experts from around the world, dives into business success secrets, and gives tactical mindset training to help you elevate all areas of your life and business. Ready? Let's dive into another Marketing Mastermind episode.
Okay, so here's the secret of niching down. I think that as new business owners, oftentimes, or as new entrepreneurs, oftentimes when you're starting a business, the gurus will tell you that you need to niche down and that you need to find a very specific industry or very specific type of audience that you are targeting if you want to scale, right? If you want to really get your business off the ground. And I agree with that to some extent. I think that there is a missing piece with this that I really wanted to take some time to illustrate, because it's a really important gap that I think that a lot of us miss when we're thinking, okay, I've got to niche down. I've got to figure out exactly what I'm going to do and who I'm going to serve. And, the very specific type of audience that I'm going to work with before I can even hit the ground running. And I think, unfortunately, what happens a lot of times, and I've seen this, for myself, but also with the thousands of entrepreneurs that I get the privilege of coaching, I see that we often use this as justification to put things on pause, as justification to put things on hold for a bit until we figure out what that niche or what that specific type of industry is that we're going to be serving. We use it as a reason or as an excuse to put things on hold until we figure out what that's going to be. Right. And there's a lot of different ways that us as entrepreneurs can justify reasons for, not doing the damn thing. But this is one of them. And so I wanted to clarify something important here. When you niching down can be one of two things. Niching down can either mean that you are narrowing down the type of industry that you're working with. So if you're in the B2B realm, and I'll use agencies as an example, because as an agency owner myself, that's the most relative to me. But if you're serving other businesses, if you're in the B2B realm, one version of niching down is choosing a specific type of industry that you'd be working with. So for example, that might be, presenting yourself as the agency that only works with plumbers, or the agency that specifically works with chiropractors, or the agency that only works with high ticket coaches, right? Or the agency that only works with roofing companies, right? That's one way to niche down. And there's been many agencies that are very successful in that. The benefit to niching down in that sense is that you are getting a lot of repetition with the same type of client, with the same type of industry. So you get that almost, that level of expertise that just comes from repetition. Right. So you get this expertise of like, okay, we know exactly how to speak to chiropractors because that's all we do all day long is we work with chiropractors. We help them really find the gaps in, these areas for their marketing. And this is what we help them with. Right. And just by that repetition alone, you become an expert. There was a sidetrack for a little bit here. There was a study that Harvard did, Harvard Business, and they did this study where they took two different classes, two different pottery classes. And in one class, they gave all of the students in the class the assignment that for the entire month, they had to crank out as many projects as they possibly could. So as many vases or as many little, pottery, I don't know the term for this, but as many pottery projects as they possibly could, right? The other class was told that they needed to produce the best quality, the highest quality of whatever they were going to create. So what ended up happening is this was actually super, super interesting, but guess what? Which one of those test variables, which one of those classes ended up making not only the most of whatever it was that they were making, but also the highest quality? It was the test group A, the one that was given the assignment to do as many as they possibly could. Because the funny thing that happened is that they started doing this, started creating this vase over and over and over and over and over again. And yeah, the first, 10, 15 of them kind of sucked. But as time went on, they got the muscle memory, they had built the muscle memory, they had built, the expertise and the skill to understand how to make a really good quality vase. And so by the end of that month, they were now producing multiple high quality vases because they had that repetition, right? So that's kind of the idea with niching down into a specific type of industry, is you're getting that repetition in terms of the verbiage, in terms of the way that you're speaking with your clients, and understanding what their pain points are, right? Because the truth of it is that the pain points that one chiropractor has over here is most likely going to be a similar pain point that every other chiropractor that you're speaking with is going to have some version of, right? So it creates a really easy scenario for you to come in and be the expert for that specific type of industry. Now, the second way of niching down is a little bit different. Instead of focusing on a specific type of industry, what we're focusing on is a specific type of service. Okay. So as an agency, this might translate into, hey, we are the agency that is your go-to solution for social media management, right? We have a team of experts. That's what we do. We do social media management. Or maybe it is, we are the agency that is the expert in paid advertising, or we are the agency that is the expert in Facebook ads, or we are the agency that is the expert in podcast production, right? Whatever that might be. And the interesting thing with that, and with the majority of services, right, there's outliers, but for the majority of services, you can say, okay, hey, we're the expert in podcast production. So it doesn't matter if your podcast is about chiropractors or dentists or roofing companies or investments or, flowers or lighting or whatever it is, we can still produce that for you because we're the best of the best when it comes to the system of podcast production, right? So you kind of understand, like, you're getting the same benefits on both sides of that, the options for niching down, where one is you become the expert because you're repetitively speaking with that same type of client, versus the other where you're becoming an expert because you're getting the repetition of the same process, the same style of service that you're delivering. So that's a super important thing to understand. The other piece of this too, that I'll come back and say is so, so, so important to understand as an entrepreneur is, where I was saying, hey, many business owners use this as a reason to put everything on hold until they figure out what their niche is. I would say that's one of the biggest things that you could do to hold yourself back, right? If you've ever had a car run out of gas in the middle of a road somewhere, you'll understand this illustration, right? You start pushing the car, and all of a sudden at the very beginning, it's difficult. You have a lot of resistance, right? It's hard to get that going by yourself. But once you get the tires rolling, once you're starting to build a little bit of momentum, all of a sudden it's actually pretty easy to push that car into the nearest gas station or wherever it is, right? Same thing with business. Do not stop, because the amount of friction that you have working against you when you have stopped is going to outweigh the amount of friction that you'll have if you're continuously trying to go, right? So I would recommend viewing yourself more as a scientist as you're trying to figure out your niche, right? Test different things out. Say, hey, for the next 3 months, we're going to focus on this type of industry, and we're going to see how we like it. And if it goes well, then great, we'll stay on this and this will be our new niche. But if it doesn't, then we're going to pivot 3 months later and try something else, right? Don't ever get in the mindset for your business that you have to pick one thing and stay that forever and ever and ever. right? That's one of the beautiful things of being an entrepreneur, running a business and being successful, is that you can test different things out, see what works, what doesn't work, evolve, allow yourself the freedom and the grace to make those changes and to be aware of what's working and what's not working, right? Because we're all unique. And so all of our businesses will be very unique, right? All of our strengths will be very unique. So keep that in mind. Super, super important to give yourself some flexibility in that side of things. Don't stop moving. Keep the momentum building, and allow yourself the freedom to be a scientist.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Marketing Mastermind podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, rate our show, and share with your friends on social media. You can also join our community by visiting us online at marketingmastermindpodcast.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next episode.